Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to our gorgeous Prof. Gita, as the chairman for today's session, and all the participant for this session. Okay, so today I'm going to present a research title, a preliminary survey on factors influencing gated community living. So these are the contents of my presentation for today, starting from the introduction and literature review that related to the influencing factors to gated community living, and about the methodology that we have used in this study, and the discussion about the findings, and finally about the conclusion and recommendation for this study. So as introduction, I would say that a gated community living is become a popular trend among the urban population nowadays. The reason why people live in this type of residence scheme is due to a safer community in the surrounding area. However, certain gated and guarded community in Malaysia contribute more than security. Various research has proved that there is no constant factor can be placed as a prime motivator influencing the people to live in this type of residential scheme. Therefore, that's why this research has been conducted to explore more about the factors that influencing the gated community living. Okay, so this research has established two objectives. The first one is we would like to identify what are the factors that influencing the gated community living, and then the second factors is because we would like to see or to rank or to examine what is the most factors that influencing the gated community living. Okay, so these are the literature review that we found that has been debated by the study or in this field. Okay, there are 10 factors that we found from the literature review. The first factor is because of the privacy reason, and then second factors is due to the safety reason, sense of community. This is the finding that we get from the study carried out in Doha. The sense of community become many factors why people choose to live in the gated community living. And the fourth factor is due to the lifestyle facilities, because when we live in the gated and guarded community living, they come with good facilities and amenities, such as we have a swimming pool, we have a good gymnasium, so that are the facilities that young or most people looking for. And then financial benefit. Normally people buy this type of property because of the investment reason. They can rent it out or lease it out to the tenant to generate income for them in certain period of time. And then because of the prestige. When having this type of property, actually this is part of the symbol to the individual luxury living and giving them a sense of achievement. And location. The factor of location become one of the main reasons why they choose to live in the gated community, because most of the gated residential scheme is located in the strategic area, especially in the urban area. So, and then the factors of design and landscape, and finally maintenance management. Okay, so these are the methodology that we use in our study. Actually, we we distribute a self-administered questionnaire survey to the resident of Taman Sentosa and Taman Gangsa Impian Alor Gajah in Melaka. So the Likert scale method has been used in this study as a measurement tool. Okay, so starting from 1 to 5 points of Likert scale that representing 1 is strongly disagree and to the 5 representing strongly agree. And the data after that analyzed using the relative importance index with the aid of SPSS. This is in order to rank the factors that influencing the people to live in the gated community. So these are the findings that we get from our study. Okay, the safety factor become the highest mark for RII, which is 0.9, followed by privacy 0.83, location, financial benefit, landscape, and the last one is prestige factors. So after this, after we get this finding, we group them into 3 levels of category. The first level of category is we put under the high category, high, medium, and lastly medium category. So for the high medium category is safety, privacy, location, financial benefit, and landscape. And then for the high medium category is due to the design of the units, because of the sense of community, because of the maintenance management organization, and because of the facilities that provided in this scheme. And finally, last one is about the prestige reason. So what we can conclude from this study, the developer should focus on these high influencing factors of category. So when they are going to develop this type of gated home, they should take care of these high influencing factors, such as how they can create a safety element to this type of a residential scheme, so that they will meet demand of the resident that looking for this type of the property, so that in future the development will be more viable and profitable. This factor actually may vary from one place to another, and further study on the range of this topic should be encouraged for the mutual benefit of the whole nation. As what I said in the earlier discussion, the factors might be different from one places to another. So this study need to be carried out in other places also, because this study is only in Melaka, so that's why it can be implemented in other areas also. Okay, with that, I end of my presentation with thank you.
Thank you.
So these are the references that I used in my.
Thank you, Madam.
Okay.
You kept very good time, so we can ask you more questions.
Ah.
Can I start the question ball rolling? Yeah, I live in a gated community, so I'm also I can relate to your study.
All right.
But I have one question. You did choose 3 areas in Melaka.
2 areas.
2 areas. Is that just a convenient sampling or any particular reason?
Because of this actually is done by my undergraduate student.
Okay.
So they found that the scheme in the gated and guarded community in Melaka is quite popular. So that's why it's become one of the place as a case study to this student. And furthermore, it's because of the time limitation. So that's why they need to find a small population so that can be finished earlier for the research that he has done.
So I have one more question, but before that, anybody wants to ask any question? Yes,
I have any question.
Yes, bro.
You want to ask anyone first? No, because I sit here over here, not even not the priority. Hello, assalamualaikum. Alright, I'm really sorry because I missed the main part of your presentation.
Okay.
I'm very much interested to learn about this gated community.
Okay.
What do you think? Not because I have not seen your presentation just now. Have you done this research by way of asking people outside the gate instead of inside the gate?
No, we
Next
just
question.
focus on the those who are living in the gated community.
What did they say? What did they feel? They feel secure?
Actually, it's not the reason of security only why they live in this gated and guided community.
Okay, fine. So what else do they feel that they felt happy to be in the gated community?
Because of the facilities provided in the gated community, they can enjoy the gymnasium, the swimming pool over there, so they feel happy to live over there.
What if it is given the simple facility without the gate?
The one, I'm not sure about that. Sorry.
That's one because, sorry, that's a series of questions. Because what I feel over here is that, living in a gated development is very much exclusive. To a certain extent, if you look at the psychological part of it, people from the outside felt that they are antisocial. To a certain extent. I'm from architecture, and well, I really find that the community is not becoming the solution towards how people should be integrated within, all sorts of different levels. And while they enjoy the fact that they are being secure, they have all the facilities, but there will be a situation where people outside the gate, you have to ask whether they would like to have, not because of jealousy, not because of envious, but the thing is that we talk so much about being a family, being integrated, and then we want to be exclusive, that's all. Thank you. Just perhaps that could be another study.
It's probably a comparison of
Comparison study.
Compare.
Yeah, that would be.
Good suggestion.
I think I also agree because we stay in a gated community because of security. And that's fast becoming an issue for most of us, so we are happy. Why do you say you don't feel integrated?
But the reason why people live to choose in the gated community because of the privacy, one of the factors.
Yeah.
Because they don't like to mix around with
So they are actually not integrated within their own gated community.
Is it?
Because they want privacy. It's like living in an apartment. An apartment with guards. Don't even know their own
I think it
neighbors.
depends on apartment or landed. I live in a landed place.
Yeah.
Very, very
Everything about it, they don't know their own neighbors.
That one is everywhere.
But environmentally, it will be ugly to have all those, development being fenced by, fanciful kind of gates, walls, things like that. Anyway, just a matter of discussion
I
only.
have one question, Dr. Noraini. The way your Likert scale, how did you get those numbers? How did you grade them? I saw some numbers.
how
How do you categorize them?
categorize by using the relative importance index formulation.
Alright. We have 1 minute more. I think someone could have one last question.
This is just my experience in walking into a gated area. Yes, I agree with Prof. They just give you that kind of look that you shouldn't be coming to my
Not
area.
belong to them.
Yeah. The purpose that why I like to go to that gated area because it's nicer than my place. So from your point of view, the outsiders, why shouldn't I go into your place to enjoy the whatever you have? Not just like for the whole moment of 24 hours, just like I just want to enjoy that moment of being part of your community, that's all. But then, the community is just, give you the signal that you shouldn't come to my place.
Alright.
So, as you said, is come to their maybe prestige lifestyle, and also they don't like others to invade their privacy.
I think, thanks. I know what. Gated and guarded are two different things. So the one we are talking about now is gated. Okay, the one
Gated
I'm
plus
talking
guarded.
gated and guarded. So if you're just guarded, it's okay. You want security. Okay, thank you, Dr. Namani. Okay, I'd like to
You
go.
have to be guarded 24 hours by
Yeah,
GCP.
correct. Can I
Eyes in the
invite
eye in the sky.
second speaker,
I can't hear
Miss
because I
Shazwani Abdul Kadir.
little miss
Miss
the
Shazwani
timing.
is going to present on social and creative hubs as the third phase of post-COVID era.
Rita, thank you. Very good afternoon and assalamualaikum to everyone. So, my name is Shazwani Abdul Kadir from the Center of Studies for Interior Architecture, UITM in Shalam. With the other two authors, Nurul Nabila Arish from my faculty as well, and Nur Risa Linting from Universiti Sumatera Utara, Indonesia. So I'm going to present our paper titled Social and Creative Hubs as the Third Phases of Post-COVID Era. As a background, we all have experienced it, which pandemic restriction on social activities has negative impacts on human physical and psychological health. So people like become depressed, stressed because of they can't social with friends and families during the pandemic. So after the social restriction have been lifted, some social and creative hubs in Malaysia have emerged to enliven the community and support social activities. So they become the place to people come and socialize. But then there is still a lack of study on what has changed in the design of third places post-pandemic. So this is the research gap that we are going to fill by doing this study. This study aims to examine the design of two social and creative hubs in Kuala Lumpur based on the adaptation of Ray Oldenburg theory of third places. An objective is to ascertain the third places characteristic of the case study through on-site observation. First, let's look at the definition of third places. It is a term coined by sociologist Ray Oldenburg and refers to the places where people spend time between the first place, which is our home, and second place, which is our working place, such as offices, universities, and so on. So, example of third place can be cafe, library, restaurant, or anywhere that you can socialize with other without, having the limitation of personal life at home and also professional works from the office. Okay. In the literature review, we talk about first how the need for social interaction has increased during post-pandemic, which is now. Because after the COVID-19 crisis, the will to socialize increased significantly, so that people rebuild their relationship and talk with each other physically, not through visually. Okay, and then the role of third places towards social cohesion. Third places encourage social activities outside individual, family, and professional life, thus allowing their community life to develop. So here we focus on the community life instead of personal life and professional life. Okay. And then it is important to look at third places, physical and social features. So those features are constituted in the third phases because the physical features provide spaces for and support for the activities, and the social features make the spaces come alive. Because if like physical places, but then like it is very quiet, like nobody come and do activities there, it is macam non-functional. And then methodology is observation on the physical and social attributes of the third cases in the case study, and visual documentation and notes taking. The research tools is adapted from Persons 2022, which in the checklist there are autonomous characteristics of third cases. The case studies are APW Bangsa and Rex KL. Has anyone gone through these two cases? APW Bangsa in KL and Rex KL. Okay, maybe if you're going to come to KL, you can go there. Especially Rex KL is it's really macam really like you can really come without any pressure. Like people won't care what you're doing there. You can take pictures and having fun with your friend, or just being alone and enjoy your me time. Okay, so these are the two case studies. I want to add additional information on the research tool. Due to our digital lifestyles nowadays, we included digital technology integration in the checklist because the characteristics by Oldenburg were established like long ago. So we need to adjust the adaptation of the tools to fit the current situation. Okay, findings, both case study indicate positive connotation with third cases physical and social attributes. So they tick all of the characteristics. Under this characteristic, there are a few explanation more that they need to fulfill. So neutral ground means people are free to come and go. Leveler means accessible to the general public and do not set formal criteria of membership or exclusion. Meaning if you come there with your boss, there are no such thing as boss or worker. You can, have a conversation very comfortably and making jokes with your boss, right? And then conversation is the main activities. So if that place has many lively conversation, you can see that people enjoy their company, their conversation, laughing and smiling. That shows that it's a good place. Accessibility and accommodation, home away from home, and that one characteristic that we added, digital technology integration. Meaning, for example, the place provide public Wi-Fi, which is very accessible. You don't need to put a password or register for membership. And also they provide lots of electrical socket for your mobile devices such as handphone and laptop to charge your mobile devices. Alright. Another findings that is important is that furniture in both case studies was designed with post-pandemic design features such as the element of social distancing. There is the photo from Rex KL. They have something like this more in the eateries inside the building. So, like the social distancing, meaning the design, you can be alone or you can be sit close to your friends. Like you can be alone and sit among strangers as well, by also minding your social distance. Okay, and then use of easy to maintain materials and finishes because you can easily clean it because after the pandemic we are cautious with hygiene. Alright, simpler form and flexibility in use. Okay, for the discussion, we see that the third places in this study create a space within a space and within a space. It means that by engaging in social activities within the physical setting in that place itself and virtual realm, because people come there and also take photos, share with in their social media, meaning they also interact, do the social activities in the virtual spaces, while also being in the physical spaces. So that means how the physical and virtual spaces exist and interplay with one another in the third places. Alright. And then the inclusivity and quality of the third places. Because of the characteristic just now, the leveler and the neutral ground and the accessibility, third places project inclusive community. And then third places supporting new way of working. This is very important because after the pandemic, we know that people are having financial issues. Some people, losing their jobs with paid salary, and many become independent entrepreneurs to support their life. So third places being they provide free, flexible space for people to make events. And the access to that event is actually free, like anyone can go public without any entrance fee. So third places become the platform for these independent artists and entrepreneurs to generate their income. Okay. In conclusion, the social and creative hubs as the third places support the social and economic sustainability of the post-pandemic. So both social and economic sustainability is positively supported through third places existence. Okay, there's two recommendations from our study to include community opinions in the early phase of design process of the place, and second, to add more programs for other groups of people so it becomes more accessible and inclusive. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie. We have within the 10 minutes. Okay, I have one question, but can I open the floor, please?
It's, the third places, is it becoming like only came after the post-pandemic?
No, in fact, Ray Oldenburg, the person who coined this term, actually started this theory in 1989, of course in his country. But as I said, for example, cafe and restaurant is a type of third places. So it long time ago it has been existing.
Because we have, I think this is similar to when you asked that question, I wanted to reply, but I was not sure. So in Cyberjaya, they have this Tamarin Square. They have a book access. They have the picture what you have there. So the places already created before the pandemic.
Yeah, in fact, both case study has been built before the pandemic, but the study focused on what has changed after the pandemic. Our study found, after the pandemic, people became more utilized with digital media, and the spaces, physical space and virtual space become more coexisted after the pandemic. So that's why we were saying about a space within a space and within a space, because people socialize like we did that. And after the pandemic, people become more aware of the social issues in the world. So inclusivity has become more, the awareness of inclusiveness has become has become stronger after the pandemic. And then how the places support new way of working, and perform or having artisan market to sell their stuff. So that is how that is the difference between before and after the pandemic.
Can I ask something? A bit ignorant, very, very interesting third places. So how do you know that this place is a third place? Is it defined? Is it self-defined with a boundary, or?
I actually purposely sample these two case studies because of their popularity in social media, meaning that people, they are also active in social media and also people keep tagging them, meaning they are actively social.
Okay.
So that, socially active is the characteristic of that list.
Okay. I can take one more question. Anybody? Yes, Prof?
I'm sorry, anyone first?
Anyone else?
I think I don't want to be seen as so many questions answered from me.
Anyone else wants
This is
to
the
ask?
architecture area.
Okay, Prof, please go ahead.
Okay. Do you consider virtual space as that place? That is one. Yeah, because it seems that people are engaged at any point of time. You see, maybe the one who coined the term the place, maybe it was done during some time ago. That is one. The other thing is, can we find or can we term certain places even like mosques? Is that considered as the place? Yeah, or pubs to a certain extent, yeah? Because people will converge into that particular. So maybe that could add in a little bit more, inclusive of the kind of pedestrian practices.
Actually, Prof, that was my question. How do you categorize?
That's, yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Master. Prof. Yeah, actually, from the literature, there are many types of third place that being studied as well. Most, some of them. Still, the most that they were studying still focus on how the community can use the mosque spaces as the community driven place. Meaning the objective of the place is towards the community betterment.
How about the virtual space?
The virtual, that is actually one of the motivation for us to conduct this study, because those literatures of third places is before COVID, and also the theory itself is from 1989, and then also the author, the sociologist, also published book in 1999, but still, long time ago. That's why one of the objectives is to see what has changed after that long time, and after pandemic, what has changed in third places and also for the society that very digitally literate.
Maybe you can find another term, that belongs to you. After reading all the literatures as well.
I can come up with one.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you, Shazwani. I would like to ask whether Dr. Siu Hua Chang is here. Okay. Dr. Siu, you are next, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hua from WoS-indexed. Today I'm going to present to you AicE-Bs2022K as eco-friendly bioabsorbent for the bioabsorption of gold and copper.
Sorry, Dr. Chang, maybe you need to...
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah, because there's online also.
Okay. Can I just continue?
Yes, please start.
Oh, restart. I have to restart?
No.
Oh, just continue, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Next slide. Okay, background study. So, gold is a precious metal used mainly in jewelry, electronics, computers, dentistry, medicine, and aerospace. While copper is a transition metal for building, construction, power generation, electronics, machinery, and transportation. Of late, the extensive application and the limited supplies of gold and copper have driven the recovery of gold and copper from various aqueous waste solutions such as crack leach solutions, solid waste, STEM process solutions like spam clearing and aging solutions, wastewater, industrial water such as from mining, metal finishing, automobile industries, and so on. Bioadsorption. Bioadsorption is simply an adsorption process using adsorbents of biological origins. Okay, the use of bioadsorbent is in line with the shift towards green growth and sustainable development. Chitin is a polysaccharide biopolymer derived from chitin, the second most abundant polysaccharide after cellulose. So chitin is very attractive to absorbing various metal ions because it contains lots of functional groups such as amine and hydroxyl groups, which are efficient binding sites for metal ions. Alright, problem segment. The problem segment of this work lies in raw chitin. The raw chitin is an unmodified chitin. And the problem is that the raw chitin usually possesses low chemical stability in acidic media and low mechanical strength. But one of the possible solutions to this is to modify the raw chitin physically. There are many physical modification methods available, but in this research, we actually modify the raw chitin by transforming it from powder into bits. So it's increased its mechanical strength and chemical stability in acidic media. The research gap that we've addressed in this research is the absorption of gold and copper by chitin bits under acidic conditions because there's a lack of study in this area. So the objective of this work is to investigate the percentage absorption capacity of gold and copper by chitin beads under acidic conditions in single and binary metal solutions.
I think don't do screen share. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. Digital review. So here are some of the conventional methods for metal recovery. We have ion exchange, metal filtration, chemical precipitation, adsorption, solvent extraction, and electrochemical removal method. Among all these methods, adsorption is one of the simplest, highly efficient, and economically feasible method. This diagram shows the chemical structure of chitin. As you can see here, it consists of two units. One is a deacetylated unit. The other unit is an acetylated unit. And then it carries a functional groups like amine functional groups, hydroxyl groups, and acetyl groups. Since chitin is a weak base with a pKa value from 6.3 to 6.7, its amine groups are prone to protonation into cation forming acid solutions at pH below pKa, and thus are capable to absorb metal anions via the electrostatic attraction or ion exchange mechanism. This unique feature of chitin is particularly attractive to gold because a majority of gold complexes that are of hydrometallurgical interest are present in aqueous solutions in the form of emAs. Okay. On the other hand, the hydroxyl groups are prone to absorbing the cations, which is favorable to carbon absorption. Research methodology. Chitin beads formation. So to form the chitin beads, first is to locate the chitin solution. Next is to form the chitin hydrogel by using a curing agent. The curing agent that used in this work was a mixture of methanol and ammonia solution. Okay, and the third step is drying the chitin hydrogel at 50 degrees Celsius for 24 hours. And lastly, chitin beads are collected from the this methodology, this diagram shows the batch absorption experiments. So step 1, method active solution is adjusted to initiate the desired pH. And step 2 is to weight the adsorbents required with the right dosage for absorption. And step 3 is to mix these two up together, the adsorbent and the aqueous solution containing the ions. And step 4 is shaping, mixing at 150 RPM for an extended period of time. And step 5 is to filter the adsorbent from the aqueous solution. And step 6 is to send the aqueous solutions for chemical analysis with ICP or emAs. So step 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the steps are repeated for both single and binary method applications. Okay, results and discussion. Okay, this slide shows you the results for single method ion chemical solutions. The one to the right, to the left, shows the percent absorption versus pH, and to the right is QE. QE is the symbol for absorption capacity versus pH. And it shows a comparison between absorption performance of the chitin beads towards gold and copper over the pH range from 1 to 5. As you can see here, the absorption was low at pH 1 to 2 and then increased dramatically to almost 100% for both gold and copper at pH 3, 4, and 5. Okay, from our observation as well, at pH under 3, the adsorbent was very unstable. It became swell and it disintegrated easily. So it was very unstable under acid condition. So based on this, I would draw a conclusion that based on this result, pH 3, 4, and 5 are optimum pH for gold and copper absorption. However, no, this is for single method ion. Okay, next is for binary method ion aqueous solutions, where the aqueous solution contains both the gold and copper. And gold and copper coexist in the solution. So we wanted to study the competition between the two method ions towards the absorption onto chitin beads. So as you can see here, when gold and copper coexisted in the solution, from pH 1 to 2, the lines are pretty close together, right? Which means that there is no selectivity towards absorption selectivity towards any of the method ions. But from 3, 4, and 5, the absorption was favorite gold over copper because the percent absorption is much higher. Okay, 3, 4, 5. Okay, conclusion: in single method solution, almost all gold and copper were absorbed by chitin beads with an absorption capacity of 5 mg per gram at pH 3 to 5. In binary solution, however, at pH 3 to 5, the percentage absorption of gold, which is about 100%, was considerably higher than that of gold, which is less than 80%, indicating a selective absorption of gold over copper by chitin beads. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sue. Okay.
Questions?
Questions?
Frankly speaking, I'm not a science kind of person, but I do concern about health. Yeah. So practical science is always my favorite. Okay. So now you're thinking about the practical science bits, right? Capsule, pills, and all that. Just that I just wonder when you're talking about your analysis on matter, gold, copper, whatever. So what are you trying to tell us in terms of impact to the health of the people? Is it the bits kept in the metal? Which solution is the best? Can you show us the pH level and all that? So I think there is a solution and I must be careful.
Oh no, because the solution here is a synthetic solution. We prepare synthetic solutions similar to wastewater. So yeah, because in our research we prepare these adsorbents based on chemistry. We use chemistry to prepare a green adsorbent. Green adsorbent to treat or to recover precious metals, gold, and also base metal copper from waste solutions. Yes. So this one has got nothing to do with
keeping the
vitamins.
It's other way around.
Yes, this is to treat the environment, the wastewater. Yes, because gold, because you know the heavy metals are precious, you know they are valuable, they are limited resources. Okay, so there's no way that we can create or generate them. So when they run out and we have to recover them. Right? So there's a lot of this. If we can recover this gold and copper and many other metals from waste solution, in that way you can reduce mining. You don't do mine gold, right? And also in that way you save the environment, and also you help the environment as well, because heavy metals in high concentration is toxic. It's toxic to the aquatic systems and to human beings eventually. The food chain.
So can I ask you one question, Dr. Sue? So this one, the Chachosan beads, you're trying to test it. So which water? The drain water, river water?
For this one, we're looking at spent process solution. Spent process pollution, the solution, are solutions that used in the industry for processing, chemical processing. So in chemical processing, they use a lot of heavy metals, acidic solutions. And then after the process, the solutions that generated is called the spent process solution, the waste process solution. Then most of the waste solutions contain lots of these high heavy metals. Yeah. So in this study, we're focusing on gold, because gold is much more precious than copper. We also noticed that copper is found in usually found in high concentration along with gold. So we wanted to study the interference.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can use this in your manufacturing
Yes,
factories, right?
yes.
So you can clear up the waste.
Yes, exactly.
That's very useful.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Sue. I think I have to close. Let's give her a clap. Interesting. Try to say. Okay. I'd like to invite here's Dr. Zaini Johanna Johan next to present research on the mediation effect of corporate sustainability strategy on Felda settlers, well-being and sustainability. Dr. Zaini, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So the presentation title is the mediation effect of corporate sustainability strategy on further sectors' well-being and sustainability. I'm Zaini Johanna Johan, and I have with me my co-author, Madam Puan Clara from Indonesia. So she will start with the presentation. Okay, over to you, Clara.
Okay, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Kota Kinabalu. I'm from Universiti Teknologi Surabaya. So currently I'm in Surabaya. So the title is Mitigation Effect of Corporate Sustainability Strategy on Felda Settlers' Wellbeing and Sustainability.
Okay. Sarah, you can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So as an introduction, so basically FELDA, the Federal Land Development Authority, have a program, the new economics model. They aim to get higher and more consistent earnings. It's called the FELDA Central Development Program, or P. Which aims to create sustainable future, safeguard well-being, and also plantation development and get the higher productivity. The pilot project is on planting chilies, mushroom, and also leafy vegetables. For this research, the focus is on the plantation of palm oil of Felda settlers. Should I share the screen?
Yeah.
You can share your heavens.
Okay, sorry. So,
Yes. Yes, we can
Okay.
see Clara. Please go ahead.
okay, so
Well, can we show the video? The slide.
okay, thank you. Okay, so the research is taken place in Felda Mokil and in Johor, in Lebanese, Johor Basin, and this is the location of Felda Mokil 01.
The slide.
Macam belajar lagi Melayu.
Go back to your
Ni
main
macam
slide.
tadi lah. Macam ni. Lagi lagi.
Okay.
Tu you have to main-main dengan ni lah.
Yeah, is it
Okay.
played correctly?
Is display the introduction slide.
Okay,
Yeah, just play the video.
okay, sorry. Okay, so here is the location of Felda Mokil 01 in Johor. Okay. And then, as I previously mentioned, that the research is based on the Felda economic model that aims for higher and more consistent earnings, as well as sustainable future, safeguard well-being, and also plantation development and higher productivity, with several pilot projects, namely in planting, chilies, mushroom, and leafy vegetables. But the focus of our research is on the palm oil settlers, Felda settlers on palm oil plantation. So the problem statement here is even though the number of Felda settlers is quite huge, but current condition, the Felda settlers is on older age, about 69,000, 7099 of Felda settlers is on past their golden age. They are already in older age, in 59, under 79 years old, and just a few numbers of settlers is on their golden age in between 31 and 50 years old. It shows that the younger generation is not interested in palm oil sectors nowadays, because they tend to think that it's quite labor intensive, and there's the most distraction is quite low, and then the poor employment, and also it's unattractive and filthy. So it means that most Felda settlers nowadays are past their golden years, because they already are past the age of 50. Okay, next I'll hand over to the Zaidi.
Okay, thank you, Clara. So, Felda Corporation, actually, taking good care and be responsible for the settlers' well-being. Right? So the sustainability, as we know, is to maintain the level of process and action to avoid the exhaustion of natural resources. As you know that palm oil business has been very controversial for many years. Yeah? Recently, for the past, I think, between current year to 5 years, the European countries has been, I use the word attacking, attacking our palm oil business. Not just us, but also our neighboring country at Indonesia. So, because Indonesia and Malaysia are the biggest producer of palm oil. Okay, so this study is actually identifying well-being impacting sustainability of Felda sectors, social, environmental, financial, mediating by this corporate sustainability strategy. Okay, this is the demographic, why I choose Felda Mokil. No particular reason, it's just that this Felda Mokil fit in the profiling of the problem statements. The aging population, and also the younger generation chose not to pursue the parents' interest in carry on the Felda settlers' legacy. Okay? So you can see here that the sampling of 204 settlers, male 55%. Okay, when you look at the age here, you notice that 40% is actually above 51. 51 and above of age. And then you can see the income, majority is in this range of income. So the monthly income is between 3,500 to 5,500, 55%. And look at service length. The service length is actually how long they've been settlers. Okay, more than 10 years. Okay, more than 10 years is 61%. Okay, and number of households, about 64% have 1 to 3 households. And services provided by the agencies of the corporation is actually covering education loan scheme, computer assistance, house renovation loan, death beneficiary support, and welfare funds. You know that for sure that there are also, based on festive seasons, they will get Duit Raya, for example. That's that we know of. But other than those, other than whatever I've listed here, do you know any other financial aids that been supporting Felda settlers? Not actually, because as I said, they are highly in debt. They cannot pay their debts to the government or to the agencies because of their loan is larger than whatever they are making. Okay, so here's the analysis. One minute. Okay, so the analysis, I use partially least square. Okay, Smart here as the version, the latest version. And then I test the common method bias since I just collected a single data collection. Okay, so you found that there's no common method bias issue. And then next is on the measurement model. You notice that all those loadings, average variance extracted, and and the composite reliability is within the range. Okay, and then this one is actually highlighting the discriminant validity. Discriminant validity is to assess the discriminant validity of heterotrade monotrade ratio of correlation using 0.9 as their threshold. So it shows that this is there's no constructs. It shows that there's no discriminant. It shows the discriminant validity among the construct. Okay, hypothesis testing, because there's a mediator, so the hypothesis testing is showing the indirect effects, indirect effects, and also the testing the indirect effects and also the direct. This is the direct effect, corporate sustainable strategy to sustainability, and this is all the indirect effect. So all these hypotheses here, 1, 2, 3, 4 are all supported. And I move on to the conclusion. The purpose of government to set up this objective of self-reliance, self-reliant sustainable FELDA is for them to be reliable on their own, not rely on the government. Okay. I think this is not really, I would say it's too late, but there's something that the government need to work on. Okay. And then the employment of choice to younger generation, perhaps provide options for the younger generation. Actually not to deal with the palm oil directly, maybe in terms of the process, operational, or in terms of manufacturing part, to be innovative in plantation industry. Not just go to the field or to the plantation dealing with the palm oil, but give them options to be creative. And the next one is on the new business model, new generation housing project. Whether this is a good idea or not is not being tested. I foresee that government should, go ahead with a pilot project, whether this is going to work or not, a workable solution or not. The new one is the corporate sustainability the relationship of CSS, mediates FELDA circular social, environmental, financial well-being with sustainability. So this shows the corporate involvement is important. It's important to safeguard the well-being of the FELDA circulars. Okay. And finally, on the circular social, environmental, financial well-being, impact CSS and also CSS boost sustainability. Okay. So recommendation, this study is of course with limitation because we just studied the FELDA module and we did not go further of doing interview or focus group study. Okay, we just conduct a quantitative study. So proposing semi-structured interview and focus group interview should be conducted with FELDA, FGB and governing agencies in the primary data, and also extend to other areas to ensure balanced, inclusive and holistic development in all FELDA plantation and settlements, not just on the palm oil, also for other plantations, including our getah, rubber. Rubber is also having problem right now. Rubber price is going down. Okay, so that's my end of presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Zainal. Since time is a constraint, I just got one question, Dr. Zainal. Your unit of analysis for all the 5 variables is individual.
Yes, individual.
FELDA settlers.
FELDA settlers.
Okay. There are many questions. Maybe we'll ask outside later.
Thank you, Zainal.
Okay. Can I move on to the next speaker? Miss Hasnato Shakira, are you here? Hi, Miss Hasnato Shakira Abdullah Hadi. Can we listen to your presentation on the value of financial and non-financial information towards non-profit organizations?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good evening. I give to the chairperson, from Dr. Gita, to all the presenters and all the members of the floor. So today I'm Hasnato Shakira Abdullah Hadi and I will present the study with the title The Value of Financial and Non-Financial Information towards non-profit organization. So my other authors, Prof. Dr. Ahmad, Professor Ahmad and Dr. Hidayana. So these are my presentation outline. Okay, proceed to the introduction. So to begin with, there are 5 critical qualities to distinguish what is non-profit organization. So non-profit organization are those organizations that are ordered, private, voluntary, self-governance and not-for-profit institution. So because of the unfortunate event that happened recently, with the outbreak of the pandemic of COVID-19 and some natural disaster because of the climate change, and that has that has demanded the role of the non-profit organization as the helping hands for the government and other authorities in order to balance again the quality life of the public at large. So, disclosure, the information disclosure is a practice of external accountability that consists of a data collection that must be provided to comply with statutory. So, for example, in Malaysia, for the non-profit organisation is governing by the registrar society. So, they are obligated to report annually to the registrar society. However, recently, most of the NPOs, most of the NPOs are focusing only on the financial information aspect, and then left behind the non-financial information. So, this study will explore the importance of both financial and non-financial information. Moving to the literature review. So, the definition of accountability. From the past researcher, from the previous studies, have defined accountability in various ways. So essentially, accountability is holding someone to account, which denotes a relational structure in which one party is held accountable for its deed. So according to ABRA and AicE-Bs in 2018, accountability actually remains under 3 grounds, which are assessing and reporting on performance, creating a procedure for handling complaints, and gauging client satisfaction. But some of other researchers also regarded that accountability consists of value generation, social responsibility, and financial sustainability. So in order to see whether the non-profit are being accountable is looking through this ground. So actually accountability in the context of non-profit organization have 3 forms of accountability. So the first one, we have upward accountability. So this is when the NPOs are being accountable towards their authorities, towards their donors and funders. And next, we have the horizontal accountability that relates to the organizational responsibility to its partner, the staff. In simple words, it can be that horizontal accountability within the organization themselves. And lastly, we have downward accountability. So downward accountability is entail transferring power to the individuals further along down the chain. So basically, downward accountability is being accountable to those that receive the services by the NPOs, which is the beneficiaries. And the downward accountability usually develops from the felt responsibility of those that are involved in the NPOs, which are the staff, the volunteers themselves. So next, we have the information disclosure. So information disclosure is the process of sustaining the trust-based relationship with stakeholders through the free flow of information and knowledge. There are 2 types of information, which are the non-financial and financial information. So, as I mentioned before, in the context of Malaysian NPOs, they are only obligated to report annually to the authorities that governing them, which is registrar societies. And they are not obligated to publicly publicize their report or any information to the public at large. Okay, so in the terms of financial information, it is the primary tool for demonstrating their effectiveness in managing their financial aspect. So in financial information, mostly there are 2 types of report that they are usually provided, which are the financial statement and financial reporting. So financial statement usually consists of balance sheet and a cash flow statement, and for the financial reporting is the additional information and documents that support the financial statement. So past research has found that donors have actively contributed to an agency is influenced by how the information that being provided towards them. Next, we have the non-financial information. So previously, they are only focusing on the financial, but nowadays, recently analysts and expert researchers believe that the conventional financial statements, which are the financial information, is not adequate to reflect the company effectiveness, the organization performance, the NPO performance level. So this inability, it is argued, contributes to increased knowledge asymmetry. As a result, it will influence how the stakeholders' perception towards the NPOs. Hence, the researcher believe that by including the labor, relational, corporate social responsibility, environmental knowledge information towards their stakeholders also will influence the donors and the beneficiaries' trust-based relationship between the non-profit organisation. That's why both types of information, non-financial and financial disclosure, will make increase the transparency shown by the non-profit organisation. Moving to the methodology, so we study using the qualitative research design, using the online databases only of Scopus and Web of Science for content analysis for those studies that published from 2017 until 2021. Next, moving to the discussion. So, from the papers that have been analysed, found strongly importance of how financial and both non-financial information actually impact the trust-based relationship between the stakeholders and the non-profit organisation. So, basically, we are focusing on two, which are the first one, the association of information disclosure with efficiency ratios of funding. As I mentioned before, it's proof again that the disclosure of financial and non-financial information actually influence of how the donors and funders to actually trust the MPOs to continue and sustain the donation towards the MPOs. So the number of donation was strongly and positively linked to transparency and indicated that MPOs management should enhance their financial disclosure information. And next, because of the disclosure of information of non-financial and financial, will promote the accountability. As we mentioned when we mentioned about the performance of the MPOs, we must look at both sides of the non-financial and also financial. So when we are talking about non-financial, of course, we are talking about the transparency, the accountability part. So, as mentioned by Alno Ibrahim in 2003, this information disclosure is actually a practical tool of accountability that they make available for the NGO. So, it is crucial for the donors and the beneficiaries and other stakeholders to actually know what the MPOs do with the funding, how they manage their programs, what they do and what they don't. Because they are the stakeholders that, according to the stakeholder theory approach, it is focused on to meet the satisfaction of the client, which is the stakeholders. Okay, so from this research also found that the internet as a medium, as a new vital medium in order to disclose their information. That's why we have from the MPOs nowadays we have website, their own website and their social media that can engage more stakeholders, not only the authorities, not only the funders, but also the public at large. And the MPOs must also remember that in order to disclose the information, must be a comprehensive. Some of the MPOs believe that they do not need to disclose the information to the beneficiaries because they do not have adequate information regarding the terms of how they manage their project. But somehow, that is why the MPOs need to disclose the information in a comprehensive way, in a way that the beneficiaries, this group, that can understand what they do and what they do not do. So that this action will actually convince the stakeholders of how they can carry out their responsibility in the future. So, in the conclusions, both types of information are equally important and must be remembered that in NPOs, because they are not profit-oriented, that is why they must focus on both financial and non-financial, and accountability must be enhanced and improved from time to time to sustain the important role of NPOs. And lastly, internet as the new medium to reach stakeholders, and that is why NPOs must utilize the use of internet. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Okay, I have one question, but anybody else wants to ask any questions? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. My question is, what's actually your main objective or motivate you to do this research? Because why? Because you emphasize on the internet as a medium to disclose. What is it that you?
Okay, thank you.
Main objective.
Thank you, Mrs. May. Actually, the main objective is to explore the importance of the financial and non-financial. And then throughout the study, found a new finding, which is the internet. Because after analyze the previous paper studies within the 2017 and 2021, I found that some of the papers included the internet as a medium, and because of the nowadays of the COVID and everything, so everything is using internet right now. So they believe that using as the internet at our fingertips, they can retrieve all the information. Even the public can get the information only through website, social media, Facebook. They are also actively updating their activities throughout the social media and the website.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Hasnato, that is good. But I also want to continue from May's question. What motivated you to do this? Was there an issue you saw?
Yes, actually this is part from my full study, because my full study is about downward accountability among the NGO. So actually I found that
NGO ke NGO?
NPO, okay, NPO, yes. Okay, NPO. When we are talking about stakeholders, they are actually more focusing on the funders, donors. They want to build a good reputation because they want funding, resources, and so they tend to some a bit neglect about the beneficiaries, the one that actually receive the services. Because as I mentioned before, by disclosing information, they believe that I don't need to disclose the information towards the beneficiaries. They don't understand about this and this. But somehow the main goal of establishing an NPO and NGO is to service them, to deliver services. That's why they also must include it. So they have to think another version, maybe this version is for the donors. So another comprehensive way, a comprehensive version towards the beneficiaries. They can understand what they do and what they do not, how they do their funding and so on. So because as you can see, the issue such as for example, like the flash flood that happened, they usually do not get the aid that they need. For example, they are giving clothing, right? But somehow they do not get the issue. What is the real needs? Somehow, for example, the men have to wear the kain batik, the women clothing, because that's why they are not engaging. They don't have the good communication with the beneficiaries, so they do not know what is the real need.
Targeted.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Asanta, is this part of your PhD or something?
PhD, yeah.
Okay, so we wish you all the best.
Okay, thank you.
Alright. I'm sure you all have some questions. Maybe we can ask later. We are running really late. I would like to invite Dr. Nurul Hidayana with her presentation, Online Accountability Practices Among NGO. Dr. Nurul. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, a very good evening to the chairman, Prof. Dr. Gita, and also respective audience. My name is Nuri Dayana binti Muhammad, representing my group member. We present a research title on online accountability practice among non-governmental organizations. Actually, this is continuation of Hasna presentation. However, I will focus on descriptive finding. What is NGO? For your information, NGO is organized and formal, in which NGO need to be registered. For those NGO have revenue more than 1 million, they need to register under Company Commission of Malaysia, and less than 1 million, they need to register under Malaysia Register of Society. NGO can obtain their revenue from two kinds of activity. Profit, for example, charity dinner, or non-profit, for example, from our donations. And then, but they need to ensure that all the activity and output are non-profit oriented. For example, helping to develop the society, help to overcome the poverty. So NGO is very significant. And then, like public and private and organization, NGO also need to be responsible. First I want to ask all of you, anyone here is a member of any NGO? No? It's okay. Not officially. Perhaps after this you might join NGO. NGO is actually very important because they are the third sector that will help the government to deliver and distribute social welfare service. For example, helping the stray cat. For example, I'm also an animal activist. I'm also associate member of Persatuan Perlindungan Haiwan Terbiar Malaysia. And currently I own about 10 cats, stray cat, and people look me as a crazy cat ladies. So we can show that NGO is very significant. It helping the needed person, not only human being but also animals and anyone. And then like I say, like public and private, NGO also accountable. And like Hassan presenting, NGO accountability can be divided into 3 categories: upward to the donor, to the founder, internal to the employee and volunteer, and downward to the beneficiary, those who receive the service. So my study will focus in the context of downward accountability, which I wish my focus to the information disclosure. So information disclosure is one way how NGO can be accountable to the beneficiary. Because for your information, in Malaysia, all NGO are required to submit annual report to Registrar of Society. But however, they are not required to disclose the information to the public. So we are not aware. For example, let's say that I donate my money to NGO. How I will guarantee that my money are really used to helping the beneficiary? Are you aware or not? No, right? So we just donate what kind of activity? How accountable that our money will be used to help those beneficiaries? So my focus that our study, the study I want to examine the current level of information disclosure in terms of non-financial disclosure among Malaysians non-profit that registered under Registrar of Society. Okay. This is my objective. Okay, based on stakeholder theory that stated that public-private organizations are responsible to multiple stakeholders. This is also same apply to NGO. NGO are responsible to their donor, to their funder, to the government, to the beneficiary, to the society, and anyone that very important to them. Stakeholder is those that can influence and being influenced by NGO. So we believe that by disclosing the information, it can use as accountability mechanism by the NGO. Okay, nowadays with the advancement of technology, NGO can easily actually disclose their information by using websites, social media. Okay, in terms of research design, we're using a quantitative descriptive study because we want to examine the website content analysis. Our population will be, this is actually pilot study, our population will be 14 Malaysian NGO that have active website. Sampling technique is a random sampling because we're using a randomized table in order to gather our sample for the population that from NGO that listed with Registrar of Society. And then we will measure the level of information disclosure using the non-financial index developed by Zainon et al. 2014, and then we will conduct a data analysis using a descriptive statistic. Okay, this is our finding. Okay, can you see that we're using index, 90 index, and then we conduct toward 40 NGO, and then as you can see that most NGO obtain a higher score in the 4 element: investment in their technology, second, service quality, and then activity at regional participation, and finally the list of activity. Mean that all 40 NGO fulfill these 4 important elements. Okay, okay. The highest, the lowest score is in terms of customer satisfaction. As you can see that 1, and then second is how well they handled customer complaint. We found that only 1 NGO disclosed the information on customer satisfaction, All Women Action Society, and then well-handled customer complaint is being handled by National Union Teaching Profession. So you can see that out of 40 NGO, only 1 NGO able to disclose this non-financial information. Okay, who scored the highest mark? Why? Okay, only 2 NGO able to obtain 70 out of 90, which is Mercy. We believe that. Why? Because this NGO is a large-scale NGO. They have high volunteers, supporters. They also well-established NGO. This is actually the reason why this NGO able to score high in that result. And then how many Malaysian NGOs score the lowest mark, below than 10? Okay, our study found that out of 40, 33 Malaysian NGOs score the lowest mark in this non-financial disclosure index. Okay, why? Okay, I able to bet that from any small NGO or medium-sized NGO website, see their website, I guarantee bet that no annual report is being found in that website. Yes. Okay. Because why? Okay, sorry. Why? Because in Malaysia, the government, registrar society do not provide any strong act or amendment that require NGO to publish annual report on their website. They only submit the website to the headquarters without informing us as a public and community the achievement what they have done with our money. So we believe that, so based on Hasna's presentation and after I conduct my study, we can see that the current level are still low. Okay. So we suggest that the government, especially Ministry of Registrar of Society Malaysia, should establish a standard code of conduct for Malaysian NGO, strengthen our act like Singapore and Australia because they are compulsory required strengthen the law and regulation for all Malaysian NGO. Okay, limitation, since we only focus on 40 NGO, we encourage that further research to widen our study, and then we also study future research to widen the index by include financial and non-financial information. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nurul. Maybe we can take one question. Okay. All right. Thanks, Dr. Nurul. I only have one question. The NGO, if it is not for public, let's say we a small NGO, why would they want to publish? Why do you require them to publish on the website?
Okay.
If like Mercy and the others, yeah, because it's quite a huge.
For actually, a plethora of research study has found that when you provide a transparency and accountability, the number of donation will increase.
Right? Okay. Thank you. Alright, let's go to our last speaker for today. Yeah, believe the transparent. Right. Okay. Can we invite Miss B. Sapura Muhammad Shazali to present her paper on the practice of board delegation of CLBG in Malaysia, decision making, regulations, compliance, and disclosure. Okay. Yep, sure.
Try my best, so it's like 5 minutes more to our end time. It's okay?
No, it's okay. You take your time.
Okay.
10 minutes. Yeah.
So, this is title of paper. It's a collaboration between myself from UiTM and also from law faculty in UIA, and then company secretary and legal from Mission Dalam Law, legal practice, and another one is Prof. Dr. Rauf, yeah? From Nigeria, representing the Africa side, yeah? Okay. All right. So the background of these studies, yeah, as mentioned by Dr. Nurul Bidayana and the PhD students, yeah. Okay, they are focusing on the non-profit organization on society side. So now I'm looking at the non-profit organizations from the company side. It's under registrar of companies. So I'm focusing on the company limited by guarantee. So in Malaysia, it is registered as a public company without share capital. The definition of this is that the liability of the members is limited to such amount of members may undertake to compete outside the company. And in the case of Honda, another word, the holders, they don't call it shareholders, they call it holders because they don't have shares, yeah? The liability is up to the amount that they give at the time when they become holders. If they put as 10 ringgit in the practices currently, so that the liability is only up to 10 ringgit. So once you already paid your 10 ringgit, so you don't have any liability if there's anything happens to the company. Why is it so? Yeah, because they are not the main sponsors of the company. So another point that you need to know about the background, then you will appreciate the issues. The problem is that CLBG enjoys public trust through being a company. They have a separate legal entity, so the owners are protected. And another one is because of the Companies Act that says that the nature of the business are wide, ranging from section 1A to H. To me, I think it is anything that is philanthropic,
including charity. Yeah, it's like a society. Okay, and then they must apply all the income back to the company. They are not allowed to distribute any earnings like dividend bonus to anybody to holders, and even there is a prohibition or limitation to pay directors' remunerations. Therefore, the non-independent director there are working without any payment. So they call themselves as a volunteer directors. Yeah. So on the other hand, it's not easy to wind up or to bankrupt the company. So that is under a standard of protections. So the issue of my public statement here, number one is that the board of directors, is being pressured, But then the law said that the board of directors can delegate their responsibilities or power to others. So committee, CEO, experts, consultant, whatever. But then the public is still concerned about directors' accountability because of so many cases on their behavior. So, and the most one is that, example is the CLBG scandal, whether Western and local. The scandal has been released since 1991, 1995 in US, 1991 in Australia, and also in Malaysia. So sorry, sensitivity to me is from the legal perspectives and human. But I'm here not to take care on the human part. So it's already put in the cases in the court, so it's nothing to be sensitive. So we are academic, we can talk anything under this small walls, Okay, so another one is that public is also concerned about transparency of CLBG. So the non-profit organization, we have similar issues, Okay, so information that is being disclosed to the public or stakeholders. Okay, why I put public and stakeholders, we will know later on. Okay, and then the directors here, okay, because the role and responsibilities put it on the directors, so are facing more demanding expectation, including ensuring management carry out their board allocation properly. Okay, so the aim or objectives here to explore. Okay, to explore. You see what's happening down there. The practice of board relation strategy through the following specific objectives. Number one is there a relationship between their decision-making processes and practices? Okay, and then there is a relationship between regulatory compliance involving the board delegations, and whether there is a relationship between disclosure of information through specific tools, like the common one is reports or the digital websites, with the board delegation practices. Okay, so literature review, number one is about decision-making processes. I use the word decision-making processes in terms of meetings, because you begin with the end in your mind, While you're having meetings, you still learn about decision-making, okay? So there are various things that you can see involved with decision-making. You can start with the board directors meetings, and then you can have meetings between directors and holders, AGM, and then also meetings involving the AJK of the committees. So all are provided by the Companies Act, and also our scholars agree with that. And then involving number and types of committee, number and type committee for these non-profit organizations. I use external source in order to come up with this. It's called King for Report from Africa, and also some Ireland, corporate governance from Ireland practices, but I find that from the King for Report, independent court from Africa, that's where the role of Dr. Rao is there, okay, to as a source of my questions to ask Malaysian practices on board delegations, because they have committees which is beyond the standard public company or public listed company that seems to be suitable for CLBG, And then another one, we're talking about decision-making process, is board delegated through the appointment of the CEO or MD, and also make sure among the peers or directors must be diverse. Alright? Okay, next is about the regulatory compliance. So the Act did mention that board directors must exercise their powers for proper purpose, do what it takes. Okay? So whether your company is profit or non-profit, whether your directors volunteer or with payment, okay? So issue here is that, not the issue, the voluntary director, according to the case law, says that it's not sufficient to relieve a director from their liability in the Companies Act, The policy reason is because there is a high degree of accountability for directors because CLBG receive donations and government funding. Yeah, in Malaysia, CLBG belongs to government, GLC. So they get the money from Ministry of Finance, they get the money from Khazanah Nasional, they get the money from Bank Negara. Depends who is the company, the GLC company that those statutory bodies look after. Okay, and then also the accredited store director, director's fiduciary duties of care include compliance of the sex, not only regulation but also compliance. So my contribution, our team contribution here is that we need to look at this. What is regulatory compliance compared to corporate compliance? Yeah. So regulatory compliance in a nutshell is external. Okay, so ranging from early setting up a company, maintenance of the company, like accounting, tax and all that, and until the company exit, wind up. Yeah, very full cycle. Okay, sometimes it's changing, but company must comply because non-compliance with the regulation can cost the company. But if the company comply, the company is considered performing because they can protect the company, they can protect their employees and even their consumer with the company. As compared to corporate compliance, this is internal matters. What we people call is corporate governance. Tapi urus syarikat, yeah? So, why use corporate governance as a management approach to control the company? So, they look to make sure that board director is effective, yeah? Look into risk management, policy procedures, managing stakeholders, CSRs, and so on, so on, so on, yeah? Okay, now the third one is disclosure information in the companies and report on website. So, according to his annual report, is a must annually to members describing operation and financial conditions. So, it can be made known to the public through press release, newspaper, electronic, and so on. Yeah, so, important thing is that the team from Noli Al-Iqab, the latest, not really the latest, but the most significant, said that the Malaysian non-profit organisation produced and mainly to report to the regulatory and all related groups such as stakeholders, donors, and researchers. It's almost to every box of society. Okay? But then, the non-profit organisation like CLBG do face problems because of the higher costs. Larger firms have high information asymmetry between manager and members. Companies obtain external financing, make more disclosure. So, this is supported by the Sutera by saying that fund size actually related to the non-financial disclosure. So, yeah. Right, so the methodology that we use is a quantitative. We use two methods, questionnaire and verification by looking at the annual reports. So, when we develop the consortium framework, okay, we use Companies Act guidelines and all that. But when it comes to code of corporate governance, we have a problem. Malaysia tak ada code of governance for the CLBG. So that's how we import from South Africa. Alhamdulillah, Dr. Raul helped us. So the scoring, we use Likert scale for the category 1, yeah, the RO1. But for the RO2 and 3, we use the dichotomous measure to check whether our responder answer betul ke. Yeah, okay. So we check from our side. So these are the questions. Okay, and those are the list of the annual reports that we have in our database. So finally, we found that the RO1, okay, decision-making process, and the annual report is okay from that 20 companies. Okay, this is also pilot study from the 2000 type of CLBG registers in CCM. So we find that 20 are the best one lah. But however, we found the issue regarding the compliance. Yeah, there is a regarding regulatory compliance, we find that there is no correlation between regulatory compliance and practices of board delegations. This is what the director say. Yeah? So, this contrasts with the case law on federal case, saying that voluntary director not sufficient to relieve a director. This is maybe because, yeah, okay, because it's just a pilot study, that require involves following legal mandates, external regulations. And then, another reason is because we, the team, only ask about regulatory compliance. We did not ask corporate governance so much. And then when we ask regulatory compliance, it's only on the part of setting up a company. The rest of questions in the Companies Act are not consistent with the nature of their business. Because they don't have shares, they don't have dividend. What to ask? It's very impossible to ask them. Yeah? So,
The rest, R01 and R2 disclosure is consistent, we don't have to discuss. So this is my conclusion, based on the exploratory. Pilot study found that the compliance does not correlate with board declarations, is an early indicator that there is a dilemma faced by volunteer directors considering the extent of their liabilities in the non-profit CRBG towards regular compliance equivalent to other public companies and public listed companies. In other words, they are non-profit organization. You cannot put the regulation for public and public listed to us. Very unfair, very heavy for us to follow. Secondly is that when we develop country framework, we refer to initially with companies Act 2016 and Malaysian Code of Governance 2017. However, MCCG 2017 are not appropriate, so heavy for this non-profit organization. Okay, that's how we end up looking at this South Africa. We found from Australia, we found from US and all that. In Africa also there are two, Nigeria and another one, the west side of and the south one. But the south one seems to be adaptable by Malaysia. Okay, and then number 3 is no code of governance for CRBG or even non-profit from the society side. Okay, so therefore we recommend policymaker formulate a similar code of governance. Yeah, and then the fourth one, the limitation is that we only report on the 20 CRBG as a pilot study. Presently, it was conducted during the COVID-19 pandemic last year under internal grant. So we recommend that replicate study a more diverse population so that we can get confirmed, especially on our R02, regarding the regulatory compliance. That's all. Any questions?
Okay, so we can take one question if anybody wants to ask. The other side also is not finished. Any question? No? Okay. I just have one thing. CG, corporate governance, we have for GLCs, but you're saying we don't have for CLBG, right?
We don't have for the non-profit organization or CLBG, a trust company and all that. So CLBG is representing the one under corporate ROC.
You can't use the same CG?
Cannot. Can only because they are public company, but it's very heavy. Because they have related party transaction, they have shares. Yeah. I think the good about CG is that perhaps all the CLBG have no problem with that disclosure. Yeah, as compared to society. Yeah, they have money, they can disclose. But the issue about is the act, and then your corporate governance is meant for public listed. So the CLBG take it as kesempatan, opportunity that we cannot follow that. This is a non-profit. So what happened to that? Start to make use of it. Now you find the case of one MDB lah, apalah, because we don't have to disclose to you. If public listed, market, they are not preferred market. Tak payahlah disclose to the public. We already disclose to our stakeholders. For society, stakeholder problem. We all CRBG. So that was the situation.
Thank you, Miss May. Thank you very much.